All right, hi everybody. Welcome to the Two Marketing Guys podcast. My name is Mac, and I'm sitting here with our special friend Jeff Ward, who owns Forward Communications here in town. And you pretty much travel all around the place, though, right?
Yeah, we're based out of Colorado Springs, but we have work in California, West Coast, as well as Hawaii.
Okay, cool. So the way that we structure these podcasts is it's really open form. We're just having a conversation, essentially. And now that I can see that the sound's okay, it's not scripted. I mean, the biggest thing is let's just have a conversation.
Okay.
So the very first thing that I think anybody would want to know when you have a name like Forward Communications is, what does that mean? Like, what do you do for business?
Okay. Well, we sell phone systems, and we offer unified communications. So
what is that?
Basically, what that means is we make sure that you're connected to your cell phone. But that's the number one way that people want to be connected right now. In other words, if you get a call to your office, you want it to be able to follow you to your cell phone. If someone leaves you a message on your office phone, you want to be able to hear it and see it, do voicemail to email, or get it on your telephone, on your cell phone. So people want to be able to share information and be connected as part of the company, but still be able to move and be out and about and be where they are.
Well, before we just went live on the podcast, you kind of had mentioned something that I think is worth noting is you essentially turn your cell phone into a business phone, right?
Right.
How does that happen?
Well, basically the systems that we sell enable your cell phone to be connected through the Unified Communication System server to where...
And the Unified Connect... Sorry to interrupt. I might interrupt a few parts, but the Unified Connection thing is say you have a generic number, right? Mm-hmm. The person calls that generic number, they've called into the cell phone system, right? And then it routes it to the appropriate person, like where it says, hey, you've reached Two Marketing Guys.
Right.
Press 1 for Mac, press 2 for Ryan.
Right.
That means you're in the network, right?
That's right.
And then somebody hits 1 and it goes right to your cell phone.
Right.
Or right to your office phone.
Right.
But it can also ring on the office phone and the cell phone simultaneously, right?
Correct. That's part of it.
Okay.
You can have what we call a direct inward dial number, or a DID, to where if somebody knew that, they could call that number directly.
Yeah.
And it would reach you on your cell phone or at your desk, either one, at the same time. So if you were sitting at your desk phone would ring. If you were gone out on an appointment or driving, your cell phone would ring, and they both ring at the same time. And so it depends on how you want your customers to be able to access you. If you have a direct inward dial, or if you have a switchboard, and a person is taking that phone call, and they call in and they ask to be transferred to you, she hits a transfer button, and it goes out to your desk phone at your office and your cell phone simultaneously. Mm-hmm. And what you were talking about was what we call an automatic attendant. So the person would be, they'd call into, like you said, a script where it says how you've reached Two Marketing Guys. If you know your party's extension, you can dial it now. So if on your card, if your extension is listed, the person calling in would dial your 3-digit extension. That system would transfer the call directly to you wherever you are, on your cell phone or at your desk.
Okay.
You're always connected. Or if a certain department, if you want the sales department, you could have, if you want to reach the sales department of the company, hit 1. And you hit 1, it would systematically reach out to the different salespeople one by one through an ACD, or automatic call distribution part of the system, to where it can be set up multiple ways. It can be set up to where it always chooses this guy first because he's your main sales guy. If he's busy or tied up, it rotates to the next guy. Or everybody gets a fair shake, where the first call goes to the first sales guy, another call comes, it's going to go to the second sales guy, another call, and so on and so on.
Okay, so you set up all those systems.
And it's endless. Basically, if you can dream it up, if you can think about how you want your customers or clients to be able to access your people in the best way, we certainly would give you input, but we can build it any way you want.
Awesome. Okay, so you do phone systems and unified communications.
Right.
And then now what else do you do?
We also do IT services. We network computers together via network cabling or fiber optic cabling. Mm-hmm. So we build network systems, install switches and firewalls, so network services, and managing people's networks.
Okay.
So we manage your computers, keep them connected, keep them talking, keep them healthy through virus software, and keep them managed.
Okay.
So we do managed systems, and we also do surveillance systems. IP camera systems.
So can you do like office automation essentially? Can you
Yes.
do those type of services? Okay.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So give me an example, if you would, of a client that you've done like business automation for. Like you automated that whole system or whatever. Like, do you have an example of that?
Well, like Teller County, we take care of a lot of the systems up in Teller County.
Okay.
For like the public transportation, for the sheriff's office, for the jail, for the building and planning department, Department of Social Services, people like that. We've taken all of their offices, and they're all interconnected with each other, even though they're in 3 different cities, Cripple Creek, Woodland Park, and Divide. They're all automated together through their phone systems and through their computer systems, as well as their surveillance and network IP camera systems.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So I think this is it's an interesting topic to talk about because I think a lot of people take this topic for granted, like how cool it actually is and how much it actually helps a business's productivity.
Sure.
I mean, do you find that too, that people just don't know?
Right. A lot of times people don't understand what's available in technology out there. One of my, I don't know if it was a tagline that we used quite often, but it was just as a mantra that I was saying quite a lot, is we leverage today's technology to get your business where it's going. Because a lot of people don't realize they'll pay a lot of money for services, for communication services from the phone companies, whether it's any of the phone companies out there, CenturyLink or Comcast or whatever, to get a good internet connection. But there's a lot of technologies out there, because you have that you can capitalize on to make your people more efficient and to save you money, either on the phone bill or in what they're able to achieve, because they're able to be connected all of the time.
Okay. How did you even get started in this business? What's that journey?
That's a long journey, but basically, I mean, to be honest with you, I was a bartender 25 years ago. And
what bar? Here in town?
Yeah, it's long gone. It was a rock and roll bar in town on Galley Road called
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I actually worked at Old Chicago. That was another place I worked for a little while.
Okay.
But that was actually the last place I worked was Old Chicago. It was kind of a down. At first, I was doing the nightclub rock and roll scene,
This is in the 90s, right?
This would have been early 90s, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my daughter was born in 1991, which was the caveat that got me out of bartending. My wife said, we're having family now, so now it's time to stop bartending and get a real job. So I went from making bartender's wages at a really successful, good bar to working for the cable company as the cable guy. And so that's how I started into it. I started in the cable TV side of it and then moved into telephones. And really the internet was born in the 90s, and that's really what catapulted our business, was when everybody needed internet access. The growth of the internet has changed our business and continues to right now. I mean, basically it's what's available on the internet now. People can access it and things of that nature. So
yeah, I was gonna say, I think you guys have had to constantly evolve as far as the services that you offer.
Right.
So I mean, how long has Forward Communications been in business?
Forward Communications has been in business for 11 years.
Okay. And so you worked for the cable company up until then?
No, I had another company I quit working for the cable company in probably would have been 1992.
Uh-huh.
And I started a company called Everything Wired, and what we did then was we just pulled cable. Because of with the inception of the internet, everybody needed what was called network cabling. A lot of commercial companies needed to network their computers through what we call a local area network. So we networked all the computers together in order for they could access a common shared drive, their own servers, connect with each other, but also connect with the internet.
People still need that today.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, so the internet. So the first company was all cabling.
Okay.
I mean, that's all we did was pull wire. For other companies who offered phone systems and network services, which we do now. So our company evolved into being a company that sold the systems and managed the systems and maintained the systems, as well as pulled the cable for it. So while we'll still pull cable, we still pull fiber optics, and we still do things like that. What we do now is we also manage the systems and sell the systems that utilize that cable.
So, man, that's a lot of change.
Right. And continues to, as you said, this industry itself. I mean, our company certainly evolved from being a cabling company to be a systems management company and maintaining company. That evolution, but the industry itself evolves a lot. I mean, voice IP data, voice over IP data, what people are hearing more and more about, that kind of stuff. Phones themselves, everything, you have to stay up on it. This industry changes all the time.
So I want to backpedal and then I'll go back to that. But so how did you make the jump from Just Wired to Forwardcom? Like, was it just a decision and you changed the name, or
well,
like, what was that?
Kind of.
Because you went from
everything wired
to, and then that you stayed into that until 11 years ago when you made Forwardcom. Mm-hmm. So what was that? What was that jump? Like, how did that happen?
Basically, what had happened was a couple of our bigger accounts sold. Other people bought them, and they had their own internal cabling guys. So the reality is, it was necessity.
Yeah.
Because I ran it. My biggest account was going away. They offered to sell me their company, and to where we could buy it. They put it on the market. They offered to sell it to me because since we were their cabling guys, we certainly were on site at all of their customer sites, doing the cabling, terminating the cabling, and getting it all set up. But we ended up doing a lot of the troubleshooting on their phone systems and on their network systems, because these guys that we were working for would say, well, you're already out there. Go ahead and fix this, and we'd learn how to do it. And so we were evolving and learning how to manage these systems and maintain these systems and train people on how to use them. And we were getting trained at the same time. So basically, when they came to us and said, we're going to sell, and this other company that's buying us may or may not use you to do cabling and contract you any longer, would you like to buy the company? I actually went and got a loan to buy the company, got approved for the loan to buy the company, and met the guy for lunch, and he sold it that morning. So it was already gone. So literally, I went from having a great client that was feeding us tons of work.
Oh, wow.
As Colorado Springs was growing, we were cabling the town. I mean, there was very few cabling companies back then. Now there's tons.
Yeah.
But and so literally, we kind of took what we had left and were cultivating some of those relationships. But some of the customers had our phone number and knew who we were and started calling us. And they started saying, you guys, came out here and did this. We're having trouble getting hold of these guys. They don't know our systems like you guys do. Can you come out and do this? Well, we certainly didn't have any non-compete agreement or any reason why we couldn't. So we started going to their customers and taking care of their needs, because the company that bought that company wasn't doing that. That company ended up folding and going out of business very short time after the company bought it. And so we ended up getting all of those clients. So at that point, we decided that the name Everything Wired was too specific, that people thought all we did was wiring then. So we changed the name to Forward Communications, and we went out and got certified on phone systems and on network systems and on networking, hired guys that were systems engineers rather than just cabling guys. And that's how the company is where it is today, is that we just basically evolved and took on a bigger share of the industry.
Gotcha. Okay. So nowadays, I mean, how's the company doing nowadays? How big are you? How many employees you got?
Excellent. Well, we have 5 employees.
Okay.
We have 5 employees in Colorado and 1 employee in Honolulu.
Okay.
We've
I know you take care of business out there. Yeah.
Right. We had a customer about 10 years ago that had us go out and do some work in Honolulu, and they're in airlines, so they were able to accommodate the travel, made it worth our while to go out there. And so they had some work in Los Angeles initially. We went out and did that job for them in Los Angeles. That's how they initially found us, was they were looking for a company that would do the work in Los Angeles. We made connection. We did the job there. They liked what we did. They expanded to Honolulu and took us with them, basically.
Nice.
And so over the last 10 plus years, we've been able to cultivate other companies and other clients out there who like our services, like what we do. And so we built the company up out there to where we're maintaining about a dozen clients that we're taking care of their communication needs, their phone system needs, and their internet services and surveillance. We do a lot of camera systems out there as well.
Nice. Okay. That's cool. So you've definitely had the ringer, and it sounds like you've had your share of challenges too. In the last, say, 5 years, since business changes, just especially technology changes, like every 3 years, there's some big revolution going on in the way that we communicate. But in the last let's just go 3 years then, because that is the standard. In the last 3 years, what are some of the biggest headaches that you run into with clients or business, or like what are some of your biggest challenges as a business owner?
I can think of one initially, and I'll give it some more thought, but my biggest challenge has been some of the phone companies now sell the systems. People have, they've started offering what's called a hosted solution, where you don't have a phone system on site, you just have phones. Instead of buying a phone system that will handle all this connectivity and will allow you to transfer calls in between people, have an auto attendant, have a receptionist, have a few phone lines, but lots of phone extensions. Because that's really what a phone system does. It takes a few phone lines and allows a bunch of people to access those phone lines through the electronics. In today's world, what's called as a hosted solution, basically you're doing the same type of topology, but you have a phone system that's located off-site somewhere, and you sell people seats.
Yeah, like
access to it, and they just bring you out phones, which is a great technology, and we now offer a hosted solution as well. But the difference between a premise-based solution, which is a phone system on site, on-premise based, or a hosted solution, which means I host a phone system and I just bring you out telephones, that's very reliant on your stability of your internet access for one. And a lot of these companies who sell that don't really care if you've got Comcast or cable TV or broadband or a DSL or a T1 or a fiber optic connection. They'll just plug it in and see if it works. And long term, that's just not a good solution. Not only that, it's more expensive long term as well, because a per seat price, if you're paying me to host your phone system, I'm charging you X amount of dollars, usually somewhere between $35 and $45 per seat to use for the privilege of using my phone system. And you have all the same interconnectivity. And so instead of, all you have to pay is, if you have a premise-based solution, you have to buy the phone system. Now, of course, there's an investment there, but that investment eventually it belongs to you, even if you finance it.
If you think you're going to be in business long enough.
Right, exactly. I'll tell you what, for customers who are testing the water with a new business, hosted solutions are great. For customers who only have 2 or 3 phones, hosted solutions are great. But when you're talking about that kind of money per seat, when you're talking about 50 or 60 or 100 people, well, certainly that phone system might be $25,000 or $30,000 to do a premise-based solution. But when you're talking about $25 to $35 per seat, it doesn't take that long to get there.
Yeah,
and
that's real quick.
And we can finance the phone system as well, and they can pay technically a monthly recurring fee, because a lot of people, it's the upfront cost.
Yeah.
So they say, okay, well, the premise-based solution makes more sense because all I have to do is pay my bill every month and everybody still has a phone. We can certainly set it up the same way, but eventually that cost goes down once the phone system is paid for. And the other part of it that they sell a lot is what they call technological obsolescence. They're never going to be obsolete because they'll continue to upgrade their phone system. All the new feature packs will be available to them. We offer the same thing. I mean, your phone system in 6 to 8 years, some of the features may not be in your phone system that are currently available. We continue to upgrade that, and we continue to maintain your phone system. If you've got a good phone system vendor, your phone system should never be obsolete either.
Yeah, and you guys work closely with those companies anyway, right?
Right.
The cable and internet providers. And
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a reseller for all of the main internet service providers, and
Gotcha.
so we don't really get much for selling that. It's not that we get a lot from them from doing it, but it enables us to be able to have resources to be able to get people the right internet connection. It's much more important for me to be the customer's advocate and go. That's why I don't exclusify with that. I don't go with just one service provider. We'll sell any of the service providers, whatever's best for the customers, depending on your geographic location, how many people you have working for you, a lot of factors that go into it on why you would use one type of service or service company versus another.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna shift directions again.
Okay.
How did you get your first customers? Like, you've been in business for a long time,
Right.
but how did you grow? I mean, it's a different time back then. So actually, this is a good question then. Let's branch off and do a 2-part thing.
Okay.
How did you grow initially and get your first customers? And then how do you grow today? Like, what do you do in a 11-year gap
Right.
in how you gain cultivate customers? How does that happen for you?
Well, that's definitely, it's good that you asked a twofold question, because it's completely different today than it was then.
Yeah.
Like I said, the internet, birth of the internet, and the growth and inception of the internet is why we grew. Really, we were taking care of a market niche, if you will, for lack of a better term, that was created. I mean, we started out just doing cabling, but when the internet exploded, there was way more customers than there were companies to provide that service. So back then, it was a whole lot easier. All we had to do was answer the phones. For many years, there were so many people looking for companies to do what we did that there wasn't a lot of marketing required. Because I consider myself very blessed and fortunate to have started this company when I did. Because when we started it, the internet was going crazy at that point. I mean, if I did anything right, I just recognized that the internet wasn't going to be something that came and went.
So
it was here to stay.
Your first customers, I mean, back 11 years ago, did you just advertise in the phone book? Did you go to a networking group? Did you
both? Yep.
Google AdWords at all?
I didn't even know what Google AdWords was.
Okay.
Not sure Google was around.
Back then. 2003 is when AdWords started coming out.
Right, and this was 1991.
No, I mean, when you first started ForwardCom.
When I started ForwardCom? Oh, yeah, for sure it was then. Yeah, absolutely. When I made the transition from Everything Wired to ForwardCom, I had a pretty good customer base already.
Had a base there.
And so I was taking your question all the way back to 1991.
Okay, so how did you do back then? Yeah.
Back then it was I put an ad in the phone book. I remember going to the phone book Yellow Pages and really spending as much money as I possibly could to get as big of ad in the phone book as I could get. And then I remember 10 years later them calling me after I had downsized to a little bitty line ad, and they go, you started out with this. Well, there was no reason. Yellow Page ads, unfortunately for them, became, a bad way to spend money on advertising. All I needed to be was in the phone book. Like, as long as I have a phone line, I'm in the phone book, and that's all I need to be is in the phone book. And most people don't even carry get the book anymore.
Nowadays. It's,
why would
unless you're like 50 and above and hate technology, I mean, there's not really
exactly. Other than that, it makes a great campfire starter.
Or door stops.
Right, exactly, stuff like that. So that really changed. It's much more difficult now because the industry, the cat's out of the bag, if you will. The industry has grown. There's a lot of people doing what we do. The one thing that has helped is it has multiplex, if you will, or it has diversified. There's a lot of different specialties. You can make there's a lot of people that can make money on just one specific part of it, which we try to do. We don't try to be all things to all people, because I believe if that's when you do that, you'll be a disservice to everybody.
Yeah, you end up crumbling.
Right. Yeah. So we stick in the communication side of networking. We try to, as it relates to the internet service, as it relates to the voice part of what you do, the communication part of what you do.
Okay. And so now, fast forwarding to today, I mean, how do you get customers today? Is it word of mouth?
Still word of mouth. I'm working with 2 marketing guys, and I'm trying to get my name out there more. I mean, we invest more in our website.
That wasn't a plug for us, by the way.
You guys are gonna pay me later for that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no. But I think it's important to have a company that you're working with who understands it. No different than I don't expect that companies that do whatever, pet shops or anything like that know how to do networking. No different than that. I don't expect that I would know how to do marketing. So I think it's a wise thing to do to get a marketing company on board to teach you how to get because it can be very complex. As far as you guys talk about it like it's easy all the time. This is easy, that's easy. Well, it is all easy. What I do is easy to me. Yeah, but if I put, if I
don't know crap about phone systems.
Right, exactly. So if
they're cool.
Right. So if there's, I think right now that's our biggest thing right now is making sure that we're very accessible. I think the biggest thing is promoting your customer service. I mean, in this industry, most people will make their box do what my box will do. I mean, if you will, the phone system, the phones.
Yeah.
The technology is pretty similar to whether you sell Panasonic like we do, Nortel, Mitel, all the different providers of phone systems. Basically, and I tell people that when I'm pitching a job, find the guy you want to do business with. Find the guy that you think is going to answer his phone on Saturday when your stuff's not working and you need someone to get out there. We have to sell the service side of things now these days. It's all about the service. It's all about catering to people what they really need. Because and it's not about people being prima donnas and you've got to wait on them hand and foot. It's not about that. The speed of business is so fast and things happen so quickly that you need, if you're going to support a company, you've got to be available. You've got to be available to keep them up.
Your network goes down on a Saturday.
Exactly.
Oh, that's bad news bears.
Right.
And you can't tell them wait till Monday.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, no, I get that. That's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I always ask this because I have a feeling that some of the people who listen to this might be on that person that's on the fence. They want to start a business, but they're not quite there. They don't really know the challenges, and which is why we ask some of these questions like that, right?
Sure.
Because I think that's probably a segment of the audience, and then some of them will be business owners themselves or whatever. Like whoever listens to it, hopefully benefits from the conversation we have.
Right.
But if you could offer any tip to somebody looking to go into business nowadays, what kind of advice would you give them?
As it relates to communications, or
No,
just business in general?
As a business professional, business owner, what advice would you give to somebody who's looking to get into business today?
Be patient. Make sure that you've got the ability to sustain yourself for the first year. And you know, it sounds like an old adage, but man, get up early. Make sure that you're getting up early and going to work all day, you know.
Or have a partner that gets up early.
Right. I think it's important to just work hard. I mean, and I think, again, back to the customer service thing, you know, make sure that your service is better than anybody else's. You know, make sure that that you're figuring out what your customers' needs are, and you're doing everything you can to meet those needs on any level. Be willing to work hard, work late.
Gotcha.
Get up early and work late.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Patience and hard work go a long way.
Absolutely.
No matter what. I mean, you could be selling at a food truck or something, but patience and hard work.
I think patience, hard work, and customer service.
Yeah.
I think being willing.
Awesome. Well, hey, Jeff, I really appreciate you coming out and chatting with us. This is, again, if you're forgot, this is Jeff Ward of Ford Communications. He's been gracious enough to stop in and have a conversation with us. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, guys. And as always, we'll talk to you guys later.